Where do we stand?
Well, as he subsequently said, season 3 is often when they kill off the main character as well, and that could be what is happening here. Look, I mean, to be honest with you, the silence is deafening from Spurs, both privately and publicly. I mean, they've never been great sort of on the record in terms of, backing their manager with public statements. You don't tend to hear from the ownership at all. You hear from Daniel Levy maybe once or twice a year, and that's kind of through club channels. It's very rare that you sort of get to him and certainly interview him. So the silence is deafening. I think what's happening is I think Spurs are trying to secure a replacement for him. I think we should just caveat the idea that Ange is gone with the idea that look at what Manchester United did last summer with Erik ten Hag. They spent a number of weeks trying to find a replacement and then ended up going into the season with him. So I don't want to sit here and say he's gone, that's it, it's over. But I think what's happening is Spurs are trying to finalise a replacement for him before they confirm that he's gone. He's been speaking, sort of pretty openly in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've been in a lot of those press conferences. I went to Bilbao for the Europa League final, and before and after that game, he was sort of, que sera about his future. So I think he knows the writings on the wall. The conversations that I've had with some of the senior figures at the club can't get past 22 league defeats, even though they've won their first trophy in 17 years. They just cannot get past that number and how badly it's affected the squad. And I think there's been a bit of a disagreement behind the scenes at Tottenham for a while about Postecoglou's desire to just prioritise the Europa League at the expense of everything else. He said it before the final in Bilbao. Since January, this has been our priority. Well, that's fine. And look, it paid off. And there'll be a lot of Tottenham fans who want him to stay because he's ended that 17-year wait for a trophy. But you can't just sort of write off half a season in the Premier League and have fans paying top dollar to come and watch their team every week to just lose sort of home and away time and again, and what that does to morale and what that does to the status of the club. One of the worst Premier League seasons in Tottenham's history. That feels as though internally they feel it's too big a price to pay. So it feels as though it's just a matter of time, but they do have to identify and secure a replacement before they announce anything.
What do the players want, James?
Well, that, again, depends on who you talk to. So, my understanding is that the players were not entirely supportive of Ange Postecoglou's approach in the second half of the season. I believe a group of them went to see him to sort of say, look, we need to do more work on the opposition. We need to be more versatile. And I think that's one of the reasons why you saw a more pragmatic approach in Europe, where there was a competition where they could actually win something. I think that there was a compromise there between what Ange Postecoglou wanted to do, how he wanted to play. We are who we are, mate. That kind of, we go and play how we want to play wherever we are. And the players sort of saying, well, that's all well and good, but we've got 5, 6, 7, 8 players out injured. We're not actually the best team in the league like you had in Celtic, like you've had in Japan, like you've had before in your career. We need to be more balanced in our approach. And they got over the line in that. So, look, I mean, there'll be a lot of players who've done well. I mean, Lucas Bergval's one. I know that he's particularly, he has a lot of admiration for Postecoglou. He's done a lot for his career, broken into the team this season, signed a new contract. And again, my understanding was that wasn't sort of triggered by the existing deal he had. That was a reward for the way that he's played and the progression that he's shown. And Postecoglou was, by all accounts, the driving force behind that. So he will have his supporters in the dressing room, but equally he's going to have players who have felt marginalised and actually felt at times maybe a little embarrassed by the approach, because Spurs have had their pants pulled down home and away, 22 times this season. And let's be honest, Dan, nobody likes that, do they?
And there is something of a feel-good factor for them having done that. So I think there's quite a large contingent of Tottenham fans who would say, let's give him another try. Let's hope this is a season it might be more in hope than expectation, but let's give him another try of an injury-free season, and he's learned to be a bit more pragmatic too when the occasion demands.
You have the best example of your best friend of the season, Manchester United, in that case, where you won something, it didn't work to keep the coach. And that's really, that trophy is really the tree which hides the forest, as I always say.
The counter-argument to that is Manchester United and Tottenham have got different aspirations, different history. Like, this is a man who's just delivered your first trophy in 17 years. For Manchester United, of course, it's about winning trophies every year.
But he showed for the 2 years that he had only one option. on his game. He changed something crucial comparing to Antonio Conte when he first came, and we say, okay, that's a revival, that's fantastic, we enjoy watching Tottenham. It lasted 6 months. And then we've been waiting since then a change, a drastic change of how to defend well, how to work together. It never happened. Yes, Romero, Van de Ven have been injured throughout the season, but we've tried to find excuses to Postecoglou, but at the end of the day, you don't have anything to say. Yeah, you won the trophy, but you finished 17th in the league. Now, talking about the players, because the players, supposedly, they're not very happy, they're not very supportive.
I'm intrigued, Frank, if you're a senior player in that Spurs side and in January you learn that you're going to focus on the Europa League and kind of sod the Premier League, how do you feel as a player?
Well, first I feel for the fans, because we all know that the Premier League is very important for the English fans. And you say, no, I don't want to choose. I mean, I want to fight. Every game I play, I want to win. Otherwise, you put the best team in the Europa League and you put the reserve team in the Premier League, and you explain that to the fans, because otherwise you're going to be hammered because you don't fight enough, because it doesn't count. But the players have to take responsibilities throughout the season, the players who have been there for a while.
Yeah, but if you've got a manager who says, don't worry about it, it's all right, mate.
Yeah,
but don't worry, we just lost another Premier League game, mate. It's all about now what's going to happen on Thursday.
That's there. You have the excuses, but you cannot have excuses all the time. The next season, let's say
your manager's given you that excuse this season.
Yeah, but it's not nice. It's not nice for the club. It's not nice for the fans. It's not nice for your resume at the end of your career. Some players say, "Oh, well, I won the Europa League, but I finished 17th in the league." Well, what happened? What did you do during the season?
But people don't ask you what.
Yeah, well, maybe the tricky people.
How would you feel if we've never really discussed that? Actually, it's an interesting point that James made, that some of the senior players weren't happy with this stance.
That's quite normal when you're getting embarrassed and when you've been shambolic in the Premier League and you've lost 22 games, which is I think a Premier League record, that you've lost that amount of games and you haven't gone down. That's normal that a group of players, the senior players, would knock on the manager's door and say, listen, we've got to do something different here. And if the manager, like you said there, Dan, is saying, well, don't worry about it, we'll try and win a European competition, you ain't going to be happy. So two things can happen. You either follow your manager and you keep getting beat in the Premier League every single week, or you have a mini conversation. If I'm playing with Frank, we have a conversation of me and Frank over at the back. We're saying, we ain't playing on a halfway line today, Frank. We're going to do our own thing, and we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to defend properly, and we're going to defend in a shape, and we're going to have a conversation with Porro, and we're going to tell a doggy not to be on the halfway line, because you close your eyes and you picture a Tottenham goal that's gone in against them. The two fullbacks will be 30 yards out of position. So that's a dangerous scenario if players start doing things off the cuff by themselves. I think it's impossible he stays on. I mean, the last game of the season, more or less, was the nail in the coffin. They went 1-0 up against Brighton and got done 4-1. I mean, you just can't go into a season where you say, forget the Premier League and we'll try and win a European competition, or we'll try and win a cup, because that's what I do. And I credit Ange for it, and I like him. He's very likeable. But honestly, managers at Tottenham being sacked for finishing 5th. You can't be losing 22 games in the Premier League and expect to keep your job. It's impossible.